complimenting Andre, because that's probably one of the best descriptions of STV that I've heard in a long time. So I think you've obviously taken a long time to think about that, and I appreciated hearing it that way. So, and I appreciate that. As I said in my earlier comments, I think to John's question, you know, I do have concerns about STV, but my job today here is not to convince you one way or the other. My job is to say to you, you have an opportunity to decide whether or not you want to employ this method of voting. I have concerns about it. And I have concerns because of the very question that John asked at the beginning about being engaged with your representative, about the ability to serve people well, and the criticisms that come inherently with, you know, the system we have. We have a very large riding as it stands today. And it stands to get a whole lot bigger. And yes, there will be 3 people representing it. But it means, John, that you would have the opportunity to actually call an MLA that might live in Vanderhoof and expect the same degree of service as you would from someone who lives in Valemount or Prince George. So I have concerns about the efficacy, the efficiency of the model. And I only say that from a perspective of being a human being trying to represent a much larger physical riding than the one we have today. And how do you do that? So my comment is, think carefully. I have concerns about it. I've had the opportunity to try to figure out how it actually works. And to be honest, I'm not nearly as articulate about it as Andre is. He's obviously taken a lot more time to think about that. So I have deep concerns. When the Electoral Boundaries Commission was actually in place in British Columbia, my colleague and I were the first 2 people that stood up in northern BC and said, we are not losing a voice in northern British Columbia. And as a government, we stood up for northern BC, in fact, and brought it into the legislature. The opposition did not support it in the role that we brought it forward in. But what we're concerned about, you've heard it here today, is having your voices heard. So the STV model for me causes concern about the ability of an MLA to deal effectively with a very large riding and a much larger group of people in the kind of relationship that I think people are looking for. That would be my concern, but you know, we're laying it in front of you and it's yours to decide.